Hey everybody, we're jumping in real quick here to take a look at this. And what this is going to be a quick what I know or what I believe I know about coach abilities. All right, so we get our 200 points and everything, right? And then, your unlocks and everything like that. Now, so we go in here, and then first thing you want to do is you look at, and then you get the tutorial, right? Coordinators can be fired and replaced at the start of the first preseason uh, or during the off-season staff week. Outside of these times, your staff will be locked. To release a coordinator, highlight them and press the indicated command. All right, so that's fine, right? That works as now we are in week one of the season. I just wanted to start there just to show. Now, abilities. This is really what we're talking about right here. Now, here's my initial thought, and then you tell me if you didn't think the same thing. So we go in, we get grab an ability, and then we boost it. Say okay, we can upgrade this for X number of points and everything. And then here's what, and I'm going to show you an example. So right now, our scout ability is we can do 2% general scouting buff for QBs, head coaches, right? And then right there, we have the ability to hire two-tier scouts, two tier two scouts. I'm gonna boost it, right? I'm gonna boost it again. So now we have the ability to hire five tier two scouts, right? Isn't that where we're at right now? And it is 26 weeks duration when loaded. That is the key point. And that's the thing that I missed before. What I'm going to show you is we're going to back out for a minute. I'm going to just pick a draft class. We're just going to keep the right, and then we're going to look real quick. And I should have turned tutorials off. I did not. My bad. And we're going to look, and we're going to see that we got our three-tier scout in national, tier one in west, tier two in central, tier one in northeast, and our other tier one in. Now, I'm going to actually go into my scouts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire. I don't like this mechanic in Madden, but I'm going to fire my tier one scouts. Okay. Then I'm going to go to free agent scouts. And then I'm going to scroll on down. Because remember, we just boosted ourselves. We should be able to get five tier two scouts. So I'm going to hire. You sure you want to hire this scout? Unable to hire scout. Each scout has a tier from 1 to 3. When replacing a scout, you must replace them with one of the same tier. Okay. All right, man. And then I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to go back because now I'm annoyed, right? I'm annoyed because, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me get over here. I can't boost it anymore. It's the highest tier, it's tier 4. I can hire 5 tier 2 scouts. No, you can't. Now, I just went in and I just boosted and I used up what 40, 50 of my 50 plus of my points to boost that, to maximize it, max it all the way out. Here is the thing that I haven't seen anyone point out to you. You see the green check marks? These are the active abilities. These are the only ones that are actually affecting anything, affecting your game. So at this point, it doesn't matter if my coach is level 50. He's got 4 active abilities in play right now. Okay, so I can eventually get enough points to unlock all these. I have 4 active play sheets. Doesn't matter because I can go in here and I upgrade and unlock all the play sheets in the world that I want, but I only have 3 that are active. And you can see with Deuce Douglas, our offensive coordinator, he has 1 play sheet. Lynn Wagner, our defensive coordinator, he has no active defensive play sheets. So now, I don't know this for a fact, but I'd like to ask Madden or EA, since none of these are checked active, does that mean none of these play a role in the game that's coming up? Here's why I believe they don't. Let's get into our weekly strategy. All right. Welcome to the weekly strategy. You can evaluate, replace, or upgrade your coaching staff here. Set coaches' abilities to utilize their staff skills and utilize play sheets to keep teams guessing with unique additions to your playbook. Game day and season abilities. Staff loadouts can consist of both game day abilities that work week to week or season abilities that must be used for a certain period of time. Wear and tear. Use trainer abilities and manage player reps to ensure players are fresh and navigate wear and tear. Ability slots. Select an ability slot to view and customize your coach abilities. Ability slots can be filled with either game day or season abilities. Each ability's effects, along with the upgrade and downgrade requirements, are displayed in the abilities panel. Matchup panel. The matchup panel gives you details on how to match up with your opponent. Scouting card. Scroll through the scouting cards to view the opposing team's top players, their staff's top player abilities and play sheets, key injuries, and more to help you decide what weaknesses to exploit. All right, so now we're in here. And then here's our loadout. And this is the recommended loadout. Now, I will tell you this, maximizing your coach, right? Andy Reid's a level 42. So maximizing your coach, yeah, you want to do that, but not for why you think you want to do it. One isn't so that you can just keep opening up and doing whatever. There is slight genius here, okay? And then there's annoyances here. And you can see for some reason, this one, even though it says unlocks at level 24, that's probably unlocks at level 24 for your trainer, right? Because Andy Reid is already level 42. So here are the active play sheets, okay? So if we click on any one, if we just, you click in, you select here. This is telling me, right, my staff loadout. I have 6 of 6 slots unlocked. That means I can have up to 6 of them. I've got 4 of them check marked right here. If I deselect that one, okay, and then I come down here, I'm going to deselect that one as well and deselect that one. So I got 3 of the 6, right? Now, say I decide, you know what? I'm going to take my highest level defensive one. I'm going to go ahead and if you look, do I want to do player development? No, but what do I want to do? Hey, I want my tiers 2 scouts, right? Yeah. And then do I really want to expend any here, right? Cuz this is just my training boost. Because I have them unlocked. Great. But I got to tell you, this only if I click this one, it's 7 weeks duration. I believe what that means is if I select it here, I can't unselect it for 7 weeks. So I have to determine, Now, I want EA to tell me no, that's not the case. You can unselect at any time, but the maximum amount of time that it will stay active when you do select it is 7 weeks, and then you have to reselect it again. That's more user friendly, but I really do believe once you select it, you probably can't unselect it. That would make more sense, but you know, let's look at this one. Makes sense in the preseason, right? But it's a 5 week duration, but it does make sense in the preseason simply because that's when you're boosting up the training ability for your rookies. So, what else are we going to do? Well, staff loadout. I'm going to let's just go ahead and I'm going to select the dashing dots. All right. So there's our staff loadout. Okay. Now, let's go and look at our play sheets. Now, here we think we have all our play sheets available to us. And I want to say I don't believe that's the case. So now what we're got to do is wait, let me go back in there again. I got knocked off of it. Oh, okay, you just deselected here. See, so I can deselect it over here. And now I have my red zone passing play sheet active. If I want any of my defensive play sheets, I got to select them and say, hey, get in here and do something. So by having all four, I can decide, okay, well, where's my West Coast? Right? Boom. So now these four are active and loaded for the game. Okay. Let's go back and then trainer abilities. I got both of these unlocked. One is reduce wear and tear attribute penalty during games. Okay, by 5%. Or increase, and then the maximum one is increase rate at which players recover from wear and tear during games by 10%. I'm kind of thinking, oh, well, my bad. So this is the one I've spent all my time maxing out, so might as well be the one I use. And then again, like I said, the trainer, his stuff, this other slot will probably unlock when the trainer hits level 24. Now I have my loadout, right, for the week. Head coach is um then not the head coach, but our scout squad is now selected, right? I'm gonna confirm my loadout, and then I'm just gonna sim the training. I'm not gonna do any of it. Okay. Now that loadout is active, right? Continue. I don't care. Now let me go back to my scouts. Let me go back to my free agent scouts. We're gonna just scroll down, and then okay, I do want to hire this scout now. Oh, oh. Well, you look at that. Um, nope, nope, nope. Uh, yeah, let's do it. I don't need a new quarter. Nope, nope, nope. We're not gonna do it. We're gonna go. Yeah, let's do this one. Beverly Thompson. Look at that. And then when I go back to my scouts, I have 4 tier 2 scouts. So yes, you can maximize the ability, but if it's not selected in your loadout, it doesn't do anything for you. And so back to, so here, now that I can have the scouts, I have them now. But that means in my loadout, right, for the week, I have to have it selected. And so it's very important when you're looking here and you're going, oh, okay, granted, I've unlocked all these, but it's only the ones with the actual check marks that are going to make a difference. And then let's see, real quick here. I'm just going to assign them to a region just to make sure. Okay. And then we have prospects already. And then we can upgrade players. I just want to show you that we have probably do have a ton of players that need to be upgraded. We're not going to do that either. Um, we don't have practice squad stealing turned off, so that's why that is. And then what I'm just going to do, right, we're going to advance to next week because we have to test that theory. All right. So we're going to sim this week. And boom. I'm thinking we did fairly well. Throw no interceptions in game. Right. Okay. No new unlocks. Okay. Coach Reed is still level 42. Now, we need to go back to our weekly strategy, and then we need to look at our loadout. And what we want to look at in particular is this one right here. Okay. And what I'm looking at and what we want to see, and right here it says loaded 25 weeks duration remaining. 1 week duration remaining. So these all are just 1 week. Okay. This one is 25 weeks. I can't click it. You see how I can click that? And what that is telling me right now is I this coach ability is currently locked and cannot be swapped out before the number of locked weeks has expired. That is going to be true of all these player development ones as well, right? And what we're going to do real quick here is we're going to test that theory and we're going to go outside the club. And then we're going to come down here and I'm going to right here, our defensive line. You need a little boosting. So we're going to give them some boost. All right. And then we're going to also, I'm going to take that out. He doesn't need that. We don't need to boost that for someone like, what's his name? For Mahomes. Mahomes is just, you know, be all, end all, be all. Okay. So now we just selected the defensive one. It's only 1 week, but we're just doing that. Here, though, our defensive line is going to go, and it's going to go for 7 weeks, right? And then let's see. So we're going to go back. We're going to confirm our loadout, simulate our training again. All right. We still got players to upgrade, but we're not going to worry about them. So now, when we, and then again, like I said, so this 26 weeks, there is we're good. So if we ever take this off, right, we may we won't know until next season. But if we take it off next season as part of our loadout to put something else on, that could impact what we have as far as scouts are concerned. Now, it might be instead of forcing us to fire the scouts, they might be like, "Yeah, you're stuck here. But if you ever fire one of them, you won't be able to hire back a level 2, a tier 2 scout." So I don't want to go through and test that But what I do want to see is we're going to advance one more week. And then we did see that view weekly awards. Level up. Oh my goodness, he done skipped a whole level. He must have hit some major milestones to do that. All right. Boom. Scouts honor. 2 new ability upgrades. All right. So you can hire 2 tier 3 scouts, or you can hire 4 tier 3 scouts. Head of the class. Look at that tier 4. Coaching staff earns 3 times coach XP. That's crazy. All right. So we got regional focus scouting. We're not really worried about that at this point. And then we're going to look at Coach Central first. And then we're going to look at our abilities. Now, we just unlocked some new ones. There it is. So we can go in, upgrade this. But guess what? Unless we put it on and take away another ability, I do not believe you can replace this one until it's done. So we just advanced this one, got this one open, unlocked, and we can, if we want, boost this one up. Yep. We can hire 4 tier 3 scouts. Okay. But we won't be able to take this one off and put this one on. But we're going to check it. We are going to check it. This one here. I'm going to boost this one. How many points I got left? I think I just maxed that one out. Did I just max that one out? Oh, 30 more points. Now we maxed it out. So this one is now coaching staff earns 3 times the coach XP. All right. Last thing, we're going to go back into our weekly strategy. Now, again, we can't take that one off and we can't take that one off. 24 weeks remaining, 6 weeks remaining. So we're going to just click on any one of them and see if it is possible, right? You must remove a talent. Okay, why would I have both active, right? So what's happening is, and then possibly at the end of the season, and I will tell you this, at the end of the season, when you're um wrapping up and then the last loadout that you put together, if you're able to, and I doubt you will unless you want to waste the last loadout of the season for your last game, is, you know, maybe, and then again, maybe at the end of the season they will give you the opportunity. You might want to swap some of these in, right? Just to, but as you can see, all these have a duration to them. All right, so once you select them, you can't unselect them. This one's only good for 5 weeks, right? We already have one here. Where is it? Right there. Player development. That's good for 7 weeks, and it still has 6 weeks remaining. So now we have to come up here and then say, okay, I'll take this one off. Whoops. Nope, not that one. This one. I'll put this one on, right? And that's where our coaches will now get 3 times experience. So, and then I'll while we're here, I'll also talk towards the genius of this. Well, not the genius, but the slight genius of it. So quickly, your loadout is strongly dependent on what you have available. And then even though you think you went in and you're maximizing exactly, like this one here, can I, uh, you must remove, oh, okay, I'm in the loadout. I can't actually have to go back to the talent thing. Um, so when you're in here, you, as much as you think you're boosting all these abilities, you are, but they don't take effect until they make it into your loadout. And to me, the genius comes here when you're looking at your matchup, and then you can go in and say, okay, this team does a lot of blitzing. We got a couple of things. We got a thing or two that we can go in and counter the blitzing, right? And then put it in, and that's going to be our boost for the week, right? So, and then these first four are basically our week to week loadouts, whereas this is long term stuff, right? Boosting the experience for coaches, and then also our scout ability, right? And then here, actually, this one too, the training. So we only have three. We have three things that we have to be able to swap in and swap out depending on the team that you're facing that particular week. Same with the play sheets. The play sheets, we got these four active here, and if you don't have any defensive play sheets active, right? Well, I don't know that you're going to get any benefit there, right? So you're just going to have standard vanilla, whatever. And then, so remember, if you only have two available that you can swap in and out, either you're going to be, you're just going to say, okay, I need red zone and I need West Coast, right? Or I need red zone and I need heavy sets, or I need heavy sets and West Coast, right? But defense isn't going to get looked at, right? And then so say you're facing Jalen Hurts, or you're facing Lamar, right? You might want West Coast and QB contain for that week, right? Because you need to be able to get that running quarterback contained, right? Josh Allen, these quarterbacks that are just going to take off and kill you in the run game. And in Madden, that's every single quarterback. I've seen Cooper Rush come in and run, and he is definitely not a running quarterback. So it in Madden, it seems like every quarterback is a running quarterback. So QB contain you might want every week just because every guy can take off. So you this is where you actually are going to have to decide. Now me personally, this also is dependent on your offense and your quarterback too. With a quarterback like Mahomes, right? Do you really need to boost anything? He's all world anyway. So if I don't need to boost anything, let me just make sure I have my standard play sheet in there, right? My best play sheet for offense, and then I'll devote everything else to defense. Of course, I probably wouldn't have dime as one of them. So you come in and I said, well, maybe I'll go with nickel mug, right? And I'm facing now the quarterback that we're facing right now isn't all that great, but say we are facing Lamar. So I got batch of blitz. I can't even say batch of blitzes play sheet, all OQB contain, and then yeah, nickel mug. Okay, so those are the ones that I want boost to because I need all the extra help I can to contain and keep Lamar Jackson, you know, under wraps. Say the next week I'm facing, say I'm going against Atlanta, and now I'm facing Kirk Cousins, and Penix is hurt, right? then maybe I'm like, okay, well, I'm not so worried about that. But Atlanta's defense. Wait a minute. Let's name a team with a good defense and not so good offense, right? So if you imagine that, right, and you say, well, yeah, I'm going to need some boost, right? I'm facing this defense. You know, this team, their defense is awesome, and I can't think of a single one right now, but except for teams like New York, the Jets, Cleveland. So I'm facing these defensive gurus, and it's like, well, am I so worried about their offense? No. So then I switch back from nickel mug and then QB contain. Well, depending on who their quarterback is, maybe QB contain is the only one that I'm really worried about. And then I'm like, I'm gonna need some serious stuff, right? I'm gonna want, you know, my screen game, right? And then I'm also gonna want, let's go ahead and go with the air raid pistol. And then against them. And then so I'll take the boost that we can get there. See, so in truth, it makes it's an aspect that is good, right? Because now you're starting to actually trying to figure out exactly who you're facing, what their strengths are, what your strengths are, and in what needs maybe or what can benefit you by boosting it a little bit. But the thing, and this is something I've been looking for and I haven't seen from anybody, is for them to truly key in and tell you that unless it's selected in your loadout, it is not going to benefit you. So this is how, and then again, like I said, this is the slight genius to it, because what it's causing you to do is to go in and seriously consider the team you're facing and what you need. But also, if you're with a regular coach, level 7, 10, you know, down there, you're limited to how many slots are available to you. So certain things that you really want, you may just have to forego because your team needs help and you need to concentrate on the week to week stuff. And this stuff goes by the wayside until you've boosted your coach up to a high level. So those are things to really take into consideration when you're doing this. And remember, like right now, a regular coach is only going to have like 2, 3 slots available, and these aren't going to unlock until you know level 26 or so. So you're going to have to get way up there in level before these unlock for you. Same here, you may have the 2 play sheets available, but these two aren't going to unlock, I think, until like level 13, level 15, 16, whatever. Whereas the same thing here, you might have this one here, but you're not going to get that second one until your trainer actually gets to level 24. So it may look like there's a ton of stuff available to you. And yes, I got a whole bunch of unlocks I can do. The one thing you want to do is one is you want to see, you really need to kind of figure out exactly what, and then I'm looking at like this one here. I'm going to purchase it. Okay, so I just did. And I'm going to say this is a 1 week duration. So it's week to week plus 4 carry for all halfbacks. So if you're predominantly running, if you want to be a running team, this would make sense to be one of the first ones that you try to go out and unlock, right? You just have to hope, you can go and spend the points to unlock it. So you don't have, I don't think you have to wait for it. And then that would be one that you would be throwing in there. Yeah, I want +4 break, carry for all my my half backs, right? And then the next tier is +4 break tackle, and then +4 juke move, and then +4 spin move as it goes up. Heck yeah. In truth, that's the one. Those are the ones that you want to really key in on and look at and say, okay, that one really actually is a benefit. You know what I mean? It's a +4 carry for all running backs. Okay, I can deal with that. So, but just having it here, like I said, isn't going to do anything for you. It's got to be in the loadout. All these, they need the +4 awareness for all offensive linemen. I got to be honest with you. If I'm, those are the ones that I'm targeting and increasing. And this stuff up here, reduce pressure effects on QB outside the pocket. Unless my QB was, say Shador Sanders, just starting out, rookie level, Cam Ward, right? I'm not so much worried about that. If I got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, right? Yes. But what is the thing I really want? I want to keep them upright and keep their pocket clean, right? Because they're good. And then even with a young quarterback, that seems like better, right? Because then also when I'm running the ball, my offensive alignment +4 awareness for all of them right off the bat. That is just better, period. So that would be something that would be in my loadout. Um, but again, like I said, unless you see that check mark, I don't believe. And then EA, you can come back and tell me, well, you're wrong. You still get the benefits of all the ones that you trained up. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why wasn't I able to hire the tier 2 scouts until I actually put it into my loadout? Know what I mean? I wasn't able to hire these guys until I actually had it active in my loadout. Not that I had trained it up, right? Spent points into it. As a matter of fact, we just saw that you cannot hire these until they become part of your loadout. So if you're a young coach and you only have, say, 3 slots available, do you want to use one of those slots for something like this? So I have seen a lot of videos where people are, where I've seen folks tell you can boost this up, you can hire, multiple tier 2, multiple tier 3 scouts if you unlock this ability. But I've not seen anybody actually tell you to go in and make sure you have it active in your loadout, thus using up one of your, ability slots. And once you do make it active, you cannot deselect it and take it out until the duration is over. Honestly, if I was doing this, you see how there's a play sheets section, there's a trainer selection, there's the staff abilities, and then I would actually probably cut the staff abilities to say 3. And then I would still have one more slot, and that's my week to week game plan. And I would put that, so then that would have 4 to 6 each. I don't care which, but my game plan would have 4 to 6. My staff abilities would have 3. My play sheets would be just like it is. Trainer abilities, okay. And then reason I have 4 sections because my staff abilities are what I'm doing for my staff. Now, my game plan, that is the section where I want to be able to swap out week to week, and because I'm not worried if it's just for my staff, right? I'm not worried if I'm using all three of these and there's in there for an X number of weeks and I can't take them out. Fine, they're locked in. Okay, good. But then give me my game plan abilities, right? Give me my 4 to 6 slots right there that I am swapping out week to week. You're saying, well, you have them right here. And I'm like, you do and you don't, right? And then because, say, if I decide staff abilities, I want to give you 4, right? And as you become a better and better and better coach, they unlock, right? Okay, that's something to strive for. And then game plan abilities, I give you the full 6, and then I start you out with half 3, and then you gotta improve as a coach to get to 6. Now we got something. We got potential. We got an understanding, and the key is I'd want the ability, just lock it in. I don't need it for 6 weeks. Just lock it in until we swap it out with something similar, right? If you're saying, okay, this is in for the season, okay, I'm okay with that. I don't need to change it out. If I put this on, right, I want, player development. I want training XP for my defensive lineman. Yeah, let's do it for the season. Okay, head of the class. You know, why would I want that to expire? Once I got my coaches getting 3 times XP, why would I ever want to get rid of that? Okay, fine. Scout squad. If I can hire my 5 tier 2 scouts, okay, boom. I don't do I want it to expire? Now I understand why there's an expiration because you don't give me the ability to swap it out for the tier 3 one. And if this is selected, I don't know. I foresee that there should be the ability to say, okay, well, you can't swap this out for anything but a similar scout squad, right? So yeah, you can't swap this out except for swapping it with, say, the tier 3 ability, right? Because again, we just got it unlocked. It just came available to us. Why would you prevent us from being able to use it? And why would you make us use 2 of them at the same time? Right? And then you basically waste because we're wasting a slot at that point. Because now, if we use the tier 3 right here, this one, what does it matter? We got tier 3. We're hiring all tier 3 coaches. Now, if we're doing a combination where you can hire all 4, 5 tier 2, but you can hire only 2 tier 3, then yeah. So now I got 2 tier 3s and I got 3 tier 2s. So yes, there's a combination, but now I'm still using 2 of my staff abilities in order to do so. And it's like, right? So again, but I think you need one more section here. But also, again, I think it falls short this weekly, and then and it's just me, but I think it falls short that you don't get to do your in-game selections here so that you set them as the default start of the game, right? And then you can tweak as the game goes along. But if I can set my safety set wide, narrow, normal, I can set my zone drops 5 yards, 10 yards, 20 yards. If I can set that all here, that would be, to me, the best thing. Yes, I know what you're saying, right? So, but then again, there would be 3 tabs instead of 2, right? Weekly loadout, training and practice. But then we would have a third one there right before training and practice of all our in-game stuff adjustments, right? So that, we can select all that. And I'd also want to be able to select whether we're going to be aggressive or conservative or we're just going to play, right? And then aggressive and conservative in key situations, field goals, punts, things like that. Punt block, are we going to be aggressive or conservative? Field goals, are we going to be aggressive or conservative? Conservative meaning we won't attempt any field goals beyond a certain point, right? Or are we going to be aggressive? And yes, we are willing to attempt a 60 plus yard field goal during the game. Things like that. That would be a true awesome ad, I think, here, right? Give us that one more screen where we can set all that stuff up here. Do we want, how do we want to align our corners, right? Do we want to have them covered by overall, or do we want to set a specific corner to this player? And then those would stay active throughout the entire game unless we go in and change it in the game, right? During the game. Um, so those are the things that I would love to see also added here. But guys, the main thing I wanted to show was these are active abilities, and these are the only ones that are truly going to affect your game and what's happening with your players. EA, you can tell me I'm wrong, and then show me, please, and then show me how and why. And then we've already seen and proved with the Scout Squad that just because I boosted it up to the ability to hire 5 tier 2 scouts, unless it's active in the load order, you cannot do so. Okay, guys, that's what I wanted to get in here and then show really quick, because I just I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm playing and I'm like, no, that's not exactly how it works. See, and it's telling me my loadout is incomplete because I haven't actually confirmed it yet. I'm not worried about confirming it. But I wanted to come in and say, well, we're seeing all this and this and this. And yeah, it's kind of cool, some of this stuff, but there's layers to it and it doesn't quite work the way we do. And I was just watching C4's video and he's talking about maximizing this, and this. And I'm like, okay, dude, all right, tell us where we got to put it in our loadout. Tell us where we got to put it in our loadout. And I just didn't see it there. And I'm hoping that he did. Maybe just wasn't paying attention. But it's like, tell us where it has to be in our loadout for it to be effective. Like, again, it's one thing to get to level 50 and then have all these abilities unlocked, but just because they're unlocked doesn't mean they're actually active. Active is active in the loadout. And so what you've done is you've given yourself, you know, choices, options each week to do something different, but it's still not going to help you until you make them active. And again, the 5 tier scouts, the 5 tier 3 or 5 tier 2 scouts, case in point, you can't select those or hire them until you put it as your active part of your loadout. And again, for low level coaches, even though you take advantage of the 200 points that EA gives you to get it unlocked and bring it in, you're going to end up using probably valuable one of your valuable slots just to make it active. So then you have to say, okay, is scouting way more important than scheme for this particular game? any kind of boost that we could do for our O line or whatever. But that goes back into play as to which ones makes more sense to try the boost. And real quick here, again, which abilities make more sense to really kind of boost, right? And then for me, depending on your quarterback, depending on your what your team is, run sharper routes, reduce knockout chances, okay. But to me, the +4 carry to your running backs, your +4 awareness for your O line. Um, this one here, increased chances of broken tackles on screen passes. It's cool and whatnot, but is that better than a +4 release to all wide receivers, right? Or here, +4 impact block for all linemen. So if I'm looking at things, I'm looking at this one. I'm looking at these are the types that I'm looking at to figure out exactly +4 awareness for all edge players. I'm sorry, tackle, then awareness, then power moves, finesse moves. That's one I'm looking at. +4 block shedding for all linebackers. That is another, right? So get ground guardians, edge wizards, right here. Load the box. +4 tackle for all corners and safeties. And then you got pursuit, hit power, and play recognition. This one, Island Kings. So those are the ones for me that start to make right there. Pressure posse. Those are the ones that start to make, I think, more sense to unlock as soon as possible and get out there because it's a blanket coverage of all of a particular position, no matter who you got out there. That trench goblins. The name alone should make it like you're like, yeah, we got to get that one unlocked. So to me, those are the ones right here. Increased man coverage on blitz plays, increased zone coverage on blitz plays, right? Reduced chance blitzers can be identified pre-snap. Increased chance blitzers are misidentified by offense, right? So certain things like that to me seem like the the way to what to target right off the bat. So that that's what I got here. So guys, feel free, let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree with my assessment, what I think is going on here. And like I said, if you think, like I said, if you've gotten it to work where you don't have to put it in your loadout, I think anything that doesn't have a check mark to it, you know, a checkbox to it, isn't active and isn't going to do anything for you. So it's, again, like I said, it's kind of what you hear, and it's not something I see anybody talk about. Like, make these things active. And for me, it's like, well, if it ain't active, it ain't doing anything. So I just expended all those points by boosting this one up. But unless I'm actually making it active, it ain't doing anything for me. And same here. So the key is you got to be very selective. You got to pay attention to you got to kind of look at them all, see what you want, and then you got to make tough choices. And that is the reality of football anyway, that you have to make a lot of tough choices from time to time, week to week. And that's the whole point of this is that week to week, you need to really go in here and investigate and be aware of what your opponent's weaknesses and strengths are so that you can set this up the right way. Just remember certain ones, you select them, you're locked into them. And you can't get out of it for X period of time. And so right here, like I said, we have it boosted to where I can hire 4 3-tier scouts. No, I can't. No, I can't. And yeah, it was very disheartening when I finally figured that out. I'm like, why can't I hire? It said I could, and then I even have a video where I'm trying to do it, trying to hire my tier 2 scouts, and it's telling me you can't. And I'm like, how asinine is that for you to allow me to boost up um my scout thing, and then you come back and I go to my scout squad. You let me boost it up so I can hire 3. I had it boosted to 3 tier 2 scouts because I got a level 7 coach. I try to go in and I'm like, I can't hire him. I can't hire. I can't hire my. You know, I should be able to fire him and hire, and it gives me that little thing, and it's like no, and I'm like, I bet it's because I don't. And then it occurred to me later, it's like it's because it's not active in my loadout, and I'm like, oh my god, what a scam! Well, because you're going around, you're throwing your 200 points into all these different things, thinking, hey, this is helping out, and then it finally occurs to you it's not helping if it's not in your loadout. And if you are a low level coach, you only get 1 or 2 things that you can really truly boost up, right? Put in there. And you're like, God dang it. Okay. All right, guys. Remember, like if you like the content, leave a like. Definitely comment. Let me know what you think some of the best, strongest abilities are going to be. Also, tell me what you think about my idea about that that third tab that needs to be in there that lets us select all of our in-game um, stuff right there, so that when we go into the game, it's already pre-selected. It's going to be the default numbers until we actually decide to manually change it there. And then I'll look forward to hearing from you. And also remember, subscribe so we can get this out to more people. And again, this is kind of like I said, it's a cool thing that they added if you look at it in one way, but then it's also kind of smoke and mirrors if you look at it another, right? So, oh, great, it's something else to hustle with. Oh, yeah. Mm. So I expended all those points for nothing then because I can't use it. Yep, you did. All right, guys. Until next time. Peace.